So are we going to start now or?
Yep, let's get started.
Okay. I just summarized the information from the question. There's one piece of land, agriculture, 4 acres, and the local plan is not gazetted. Not gazetted, but is planning for residential, 12 units per acre for density. And the client bid is to develop 5 units of 3-story bungalow and 24 units of 3-story terrace house, all non-strata. Okay, so we need to advise him for the application for him to carry out the development. That means maybe it's the land to be developed, maybe it's up to Form B. That's what I think. 10 marks. So what's the different things here compared to other question is the local plan is not gazetted.
Yep. So if it's not gazetted, that means you can do whatever you want, basically, as long as they can.
Not gazetted means it's open for any, any proposal, isn't it? Subject to planning authority approval.
Yes.
So we just need to do like, if I'm doing this A question, I'm going to do it in diagram.
Yeah, basically it's your typical diagram affair, I think. Yeah.
The diagram, isn't it?
I would approach it the same way. Yes.
Just explain a little bit more on the local plan, which not gazetted. We need to like get the planning authority consulted before we prepare the KM.
Yep.
Then OIC plus, plan matters planning, building, engineering, external department. Then once you get everything approved, land matters I will use 124A because it's just one piece of land. Then I will stop at Form B for question A. Because because he's asking to in getting the land to be developed. Is that what it means?
Okay, saying that until the getting the land developed, I think, right, up to QT, QT or not, this one I can't say. Do you need to go until final title? Or do you just stop at or do you stop at the CCC?
I will stop at Form B lah.
Form B only.
Yeah. 124A we can also do surrender.
Yes, you can do surrender together.
For 124A. Yeah, it's nothing wrong to go for 204D lah. It's like
a standard answer.
Yeah. But we need to get the premium paid, then only we can submit all of the building plans and engineering plans. So definitely we need to get the QT out lah. Roughly the same stage with Borang B.
Okay.
So do you think it's correct to stop at Form B?
So getting the land developed, I would probably go up until CCC lah. I don't think you can stop at Form B actually. Develop means it's completed, the way I understand it. Whether you get QT whether you get QT or not QT is a different thing. And then you also need to
it's develop ED
Yeah.
up to CCC lah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because not just need the further few more step up to CCC because it's just a non-strata housing. It's all housing, isn't it? Then you have to mention APDL.
Actually, here's the thing. Chichen is saying here. Question B stop at QT.
Question B.
Hmm.
Oh, we start from QT.
Basically, QT
Start.
is once your land matter is approved, right? I think you'll basically get the QT already, right?
Yeah,
Or does that happen at a later date? You
yeah.
don't. I.
And you can't submit your building. You can't get the building plan approved without QT,
Mm,
without titles. Okay. Correct, isn't it?
you can sell it with the QT, but this QT, right, might be referring to. Yeah, I can't quite say. Hold on. Maybe we should go simple with this lah. I mean, we
Yeah.
can bear in mind just the things that we need to take care of. Things like the, you know, something involving HDA. This one we can run. We don't involve strata. We can ignore strata part. Then we have to talk about things like sold later with separate titles for each. This one I'm not sure what they're trying to say. So when say later, do they mean a different phase or what? Or am I just reading too much
Sorry,
into this?
sorry. Can you say again? Hey,
They mentioned a three-story bungalow, 5 units of three-story bungalow, and 24 units of three-story terrace house to be later
yeah,
sold with separate titles for each.
yeah.
So when they say to be later sold, I don't understand what's going on here. I mean, do they intend to sell it after CCC or what?
QT also means separate title, isn't it?
QT is yes, QT is separate title, but when they say separate title, right? This is where I am a bit unsure. When do you apply? I mean, your land matter,
For
right?
FT.
Yeah, I mean the final title. When does it come into play? When does the subdivision into
Yeah, final
play?
title normally after you hand over the final title still in the process. Some of the cases 10 years later is still in the QT unless the the, the, the surveyor have filed in all the CP things,
Hmm.
do the final survey. But in QT, yeah, the first step they will come in QT lah, after we pay the premium.
Mhm.
So the condition for building plan to get approved, we need to get the QT to
Hmm.
be issuance. There's one of condition. So I don't think we need to get the FT done together with the CCC stage. I never seen any provision saying that
Hmm.
FT need to be. Yeah, I get what you mean lah. When is the FT need to be done? That's my question too lah. Okay, because I've seen some of the project 20 years ago, but it's still QT. They just leave it there. Okay. Um, is that necessary? But yeah, how?
If you're going under the what do you call it? If you're going under HDA, you definitely need to transfer title. You can transfer title
HDA.
with, yes, you need to transfer your title upon VP. but that title can be QT in this case.
Yeah, normally
But-
it's QT lah.
But here's the thing: when it comes to that title, right, it doesn't mean that the building is already completed. That's not the point here, because the land matter process and also the what do you call it, the construction and the approval and CCC process is a whole different thing. Okay, then if you look at what Jamie is saying here, she's asking about whether it's individual title or is it strata. Unless they actually mention that it is a strata title, I would say it is like a standard development without strata title. Then the
Yeah.
final title need to be obtained only before issuance of title. Yes, we agree on this one. You have to. You can only subdivide. Do strata subdivide with final title. Conversion of QT can be done anytime before that. Yes, this one I agree as well. Conversion from QT to FT, this one correct. We agree with this. QT can submit for obtaining approvals. Yes, no disagreements over there. But here's the thing, because you see, when you want to develop a piece of land, right, especially if you're talking about phasing, maybe you want to build. The way I understand this question is this is a two-phase development. The first phase will be 5 units of 3-story bungalow, and then
Yeah.
the 24 units of 3-story terrace houses as a later phase. This is how I read this question now.
Mm.
So I'm not certain if I'm reading this right or wrong, lah. But maybe you guys can give a opinion on this. In this case, if you meant by subdividing land into separate land title, it means that they subdivided, obtained the title in the B already. Yeah. Outline to your developer key points of modification required to be done under issuance of CCC and strata title. Here's the thing, I don't quite understand when they say getting the land developed. I mean, what does this forward actually mean?
Yeah.
Just up until BP or up until planning or up until complete everything? Any ideas, guys? I think this wording here is a bit but QT for what? QT for the individual units or what?
QT for the individual unit.
Yeah, because Chichen is saying he think it's up until QT.
Yeah. What I think is until Form B lah. Going to develop can be developed anytime. So if you start QT, you still can't get the land developed because you didn't submit Form B. For a case you draw it up to CCC, it's going to take a lot of time. More 5 minutes lah. Extra 5 minutes. But the issue of QT and FT, let me get through. You still can remember we got one adjustment for Schedule H. So once the title issue out, they are subject to the adjustment of area. Is that based on QT or FT?
Should be final title, I think. Because only after you have the FT. Only after you have FT is how you
strata
do the
title
drawing.
is a final title. It should be different.
Strata title is one thing. Strata title is one thing, but the strata title is one thing. But when it comes to a regular development without strata title, you are still required by law, by the schedule contracts, to transfer the title, and that title with the should indicate the size of the size of the land that you're buying. And the only
Strata title is final title or QT?
strata title definitely final title.
Final title,
Yes, definitely final title. But when it comes to regular housing also, right, it should be a
Yeah.
final title because you have to indicate what is the size of the land that this purchaser has bought. And the only way to determine that is with a proper survey. It's with a survey with verification and also by Trupem lah basically. Then only that number is accurate now.
Yeah, I'm looking at Schedule G, see any provision mentioned about FD or not.
You can look at it doesn't mention because the manner of issuance of manner of effect of VP, right, or delivery of VP, it said that you have to transfer transfer a title issue document of issue, I think, or something, whatever they call it. And then if you look at
Okay.
I think stage four under the third schedule, okay, under the third schedule of the same contract, uh, stage four is the one that mentions of transferring of the title.
Yeah, final document of title issue.
Uh,
They
so I
subject to
say,
the.
which is what the query now is about, I think.
That's why they hold the FD all the time. Because there's no time frame, isn't it?
Yes, but inside, if you're going according to HDA, yes, you have to do it.
Yeah, it's their obligation, but there's no time frame. That's why a lot of projects they hold their final title. If not, they need to pay all the adjustment accordingly.
Okay, let's backtrack a little bit here because I think Jamie is saying something. Don't understand if it's under QT. You need to find out title for subdivision. Okay, this one I understand. Means in B they got all the tiny land with QT already. That's how I understand it. Okay, I think I can agree with that. Every time you get land back from PTG is QT. Yes, correct. Final, yeah, I think that was when she was following on our discussion just now. Then yeah, that means after you get the QT land, you need to survey before VP purchaser under Schedule G. So I think in B it means the process stop at when they got the QT already and want to change. Okay, the thing about this QT, right, is that it can come at any time. It doesn't have to. It doesn't really align to any single stage of our construction or approval process. Because because once you submit your building plan, right, where you have a whole piece of land, including all the kawasan tanah lapang and then the routes and then also the individual lots that you want to construct on. Once that plan has been approved by the planning department, your land process will start. So once it starts until it ends, it doesn't quite align to our. It doesn't quite align to our what do you call it? Our time scale and for delivery of the building. It's not exactly the same process lah. So the way I understand it, the QT according to this according to what Jamie is talking about, I think I can understand, I can agree with that to a certain extent. But that doesn't explain what we need to do for question A lah. So I would actually wager to go all the way until CCC and then perhaps talk about the delivery of the title to the purchasers, should there be any. Okay, that's for
Yeah,
question A. I think it's a
it's
standard.
their obligation.
It's a standard diagram. It's a standard diagram answer for question A. Question
Yeah,
B is a separate. We can treat it as a separate question that's based on a similar scenario. That is totally divorced from the question A here. That's how I
yeah,
think that's how I approach it lah. I mean, not every time we should be like future architect Ong lah. I mean, he will read all the question and then structure the answer in a way that answer all question in one go. But maybe that's not necessary lah. Just how I see it. Maybe certain cases you can do, certain cases you can't lah. Just like question we discussed yesterday. I mean, seems like they tell you that you can plan for something, but when the approval comes, a whole different story. Yesterday we had question. So the way I would approach it, Chi Chun, I think I would not stop at what I call that QT lah. I think I'll just go all the way until delivery of the building CCC. The transferring of the title, right, is actually not really up to us. It's not for us to effect it in the first place. In fact, for stage 4 certification, it's also not. We are not required to certify that. So the way I see it, I would stop at CCC and really still got space in the paper. Maybe I'll just drop it down one more step to go for transferring of the final title to purchasers. So looking back at this question B here, this is where the beef of the question is, I think. The qualified title is obtained by a licensed land surveyor for the above scheme. Developer to change the development to apartment with density of 60 units per acre. So I think there's a few things that we want to talk about here. First and foremost, the density of 12 units per acre is a non-gazetted local plan, which means that they can still have the chance to approve. I believe they still have. Okay, basically it's a whole change of KM. So yeah, it's a change of KM, and also since it's an OSC 3.0 process, we have to resubmit for the. You see, once you have done that, right, it means that the roads have to be re-alienated to the developer as well, because you might need the roads to use for the development, depending on how it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. So the process should be 204B lah.
I am not sure about this. Actually, they might have to. First and foremost, the KM does need to be certainly need to be redone lah. You have to get the KM approved first. Once the KM is approved, then only the land process can begin. So the land process will involve amalgamation of all these lots. But I think before that, the previously surrender route, right, will have to be will have to be alienated once again to the developer. So once the alienation is done, you've got all these weird pieces of land here. Then only you do your amalgamation, perhaps. Or I'm not sure if your surrender and re-alienation can settle can get this done in one shot, because there are parts
I
of the
think
land
can.
because there are parts of the land that don't belong to you.
Already surrender, yeah.
Yeah, you already surrendered. So I'm not sure how to do this part.
Yeah. Normally they use for 204B. Okay.
Okay.
You surrender whatever you in hand again
Okay.
to state government and re-alienate back some portion of it belong to you, some portion belong to state government, where you already surrender for the road from the beginning stage. So it's assumed you apply the state land again, okay? So they do it one shot. They will recalculate the premium again.
Oh, actually, here's one more step that we missed out. Because surrender and re-alienation can only be done with a final title, is it? Or does it say that? Is it required or not?
No, can be QT.
In relation to land held under qualified title, application for surrender and re-alienation under this part may only be entertained if the land has been duly surveyed.
Okay.
And in respect of which a certified, no, it's a 204B subsection 2. Of which a certified plan has been approved by Director of Survey and Mapping, except where the state authority directs otherwise, either generally or in any particular case. Okay lah, up to state lah, basically.
Can 204B.
204B1 also say approve surrender of one or more contiguous alienated land. So the land has to first and foremost be alienated first, and then it has to be held under final title or qualified title, or a combination, which is also okay. On the terms of certain proportion of the land comprised is immediately re-alienated to the proprietor in different proportions. And in units or in different units, okay. Yeah. The power to surrender and realienation is I think it's straightforward lah. Nothing complicated over here. So condition condition are quite standard lah. So nothing weird here also. Application is standard. Yeah, it's just that when it comes to alienation of the surrendered roots, that's where I have a bit more question. Or maybe once you surrender, you can't really alienate. No, you can still apply. Right? Whether you get or not is a different matter lah. Chichun, any ideas on this part or not? Or Jamie? Don't let two old men just talking here. We don't really know our stuff one. Conditions applicable on alienation, interpretation, interest, and okay, decision interest. So, yeah. Really having trouble with this apparently quite simple question here for some reason. Application for alienation. Is there an application for alienation? Six. Use of lands a proof of alienation before commencement. Oh, it doesn't quite say anything. Administration, National Land Code. Alienated land scaling, qualified title. Is there a simpler way to approach this? Oh, sorry, Chichun. I didn't know that you were not around. So basically, we were saying that. Sorry, I don't quite know which part you missed. But what we were saying is that for question A, I think we will go all the way from pre-consult all the way until final certification of the building, because that's the whole development process. So that's how you get a land developed lah, according to my understanding. And I think in this situation, both Jamie and also Ku is also in agreement. Just because the second question later on talk about qualified title doesn't mean that's where you stop for for the previous question lah. Unless you are quite certain you can pull it off. In this case, I'm not confident lah. So, so coming back to this, qualified titles. So once you get your qualified title, it means that some of the parts of the land has already been surrendered to the state authority, namely your roots and also your backland has been surrendered already. So in this situation, how are you going to develop on the remainder piece of land that you hold into a what do you call it? Into a apartment? The simple answer is that it will be quite difficult to do, and further to that, if you want to re-alienate a piece of land that has been surrendered previously, what is the process to do it? So we might want to refer to Section 76 of the NLC, the alienation disposal of land by alienation. So this one is quite straightforward lah. Basically, it says all the things that the state authority can do, and yeah, supplementary of the general provisions. titles under which the land can be held are items of land revenue. So it doesn't quite say how you apply for it, but it says that the state can do it. So yeah,
Any provision for application of state land?
I think there is a process somewhere. I can't remember where it is. But the step where the state authority actually exercise that for you, right, is under alienation. It's just how do you apply for it. You know what I'm saying?
The alienation of state land. It's a
Yeah.
concept. Okay. Yeah, actually 76
Basically,
did
apply
mention
lah.
about state land.
Basically,
Alienation normally is state land lah.
yeah,
It's
correct,
definitely state land lah because it can alienate of state land
correct,
belong to state.
correct.
To us, we don't go for alienation. Okay.
Hmm.
I, I, I'm not forgotten. There's a few cases for Pindaan KM. They use the section 204, 204B.
B, yeah.
Just one step of application. Yeah. No, 204B lah. 204B. But when the approval reached to PTG,
Yep.
the difficult part is recalculating all the premiums because previously you have been paid for
Yeah.
the original plan.
Mm.
Then now the percentage of the re-alienation, percentage of use re-surrender
Mm.
might be different.
Mm.
So they will kind of set off.
Mm.
If the second plan resulting more premium you need to pay,
Mm.
then you have to pay the extra differential between them. If the case is less, okay, means your second proposal or the land use
Mm.
is lesser than the first plan, then the state is not going to refund anything to you.
Yep.
That's
Understand.
what I experienced before quite a long time ago lah. Quite a long time ago.
Mm.
Then the state normally have no objection now because originally the land is belong to you.
Okay.
You are going to re-alienate beyond the boundary, then there's an issue come because the first they will check the original land is belong to who.
Mm.
It's quite sometimes I think back 7 or 8 years ago I experienced one case lah.
Mm.
But back to that time they are not using 204B. They are using 19776.
197 is surrender, right?
Yeah, surrender. Maybe back to that time there is no 204B. They use both section together lah. 19776. Yeah, I still can remember. But it's the
Okay.
same meaning basically.
Okay. Okay, come back to. Sorry, I think we were ignoring Chichun and Jamie for a while now. So Chichun was asking, can I assume my answer for A has stopped at until QT? Okay, I'll let you do that. Then B, I need to resubmit KM and get new QT again. Yes, definitely, because without that you can't develop your land. So, QT is the
Yeah.
current land status, so no. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I don't quite understand what Jamie is trying to say here.
Land status means
You can still do your processes, your land matter processing with a QT. Only thing that you can't do is divide for strata, subdivide for strata. So if you have a QT currently you're holding, right, you can still submit for land matter. You can still submit to change your land matter and whatever to fix it lah, basically. You don't get QT twice, right? you are reversing the process. Basically, you are taking your QT and then you surrender it once again, and then you will re-alienate back whatever that your KM has approved for. So once your KM is approved, and then that new piece of land, right? Once they re-alienate it, you get back a QT until the survey is completed. Then you get your FT. Does that answer Jamie's question or not? Yeah, so basically, Chi Chun, you will still get a QT. You will still get a QT. You definitely still get a QT until you finally what can I do the survey and pay the JUPEM guys. That's how I understand it. So the QT is just part of the process along the way. A long story short. Cool. I think you want to reset your meeting. I think let's come back in a bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If
Oh, guys, are we back yet?
yeah, everyone's here.
Still waiting for Jamie.
Okay. So QT cannot go for strata subdivision. Amalgamation can, isn't it?
Yes, amalgamation, all that should be fine.
And subdivision,
Subdivision also can, no problem.
no problem.
No problem. I think the issue here is actually the one issue here is already surrendered pieces of the root lah. How do we get that
Yeah.
back? And then the other thing will be the KM. Whether KM can lepas or not lah. If KM can lepas, then it should be straightforward lah. Well, relatively
Then we
straightforward.
should
Indeed.
highlight under 76 lah. We are allowed to re-alienate on the stat length.
Mm-hmm.
The rest I can't remember.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the first thing we do is talk about the KM. We need to amend the KM and submit a new KM to amend the existing KM. After amended the KM, we have to look into what do you call it? Yeah, after amending the KM, then we can talk about how to go about the land matters. I think when they say
Yeah.
outline the developer the key point and modification that are required, right? Basically, we can go like how we answered yesterday's outlining question. So we can talk about land matter, talk about BP, yada 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 lah. So we can talk about
Key
KM.
modification,
Yeah, just key point modification. So we can talk about, so first and foremost.
say in popular.
No need for pillar lah. I think we can talk about just the land matter issue. We can talk about the needing to do strata title. We can talk about needing to change the KM, need to resubmit your BP and all that lor.
I have a question because
Yeah,
you
BP.
see, right, your answer is the land are subdivided already and then you have road surrender already. So how you amalgamate the land back and then how you take back the surrender road?
You have to apply for what do you call it? An alienation of those routes that's been surrendered. Basically,
Okay, so means that you have to
basically
buy
you
back
assume,
the land?
yeah, you have to buy back the land from the state authority. So first and foremost, I think we can clarify and say that yes, the QT and all that has been obtained, but then the construction has not begun lah. You know, so maybe that.
Oh, that means we can't use.
Yeah, you can't use, which is why I say you have to apply to get back that
We
piece of
use
land first.
19776.
197.
Yes, 197 and 76.
I think you need to do 76 first. You need to alienate first.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
definitely
it's
need to
totally
alienate first.
different, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to apply to alienate the route that you surrendered, get the route back,
Yeah.
and then once it has been alienated in the client's name, right? Then only you can go for your 204 or your amalgamate or whatever process it is lah.
Okay, so means the first step is to buy back the alienate back the surrender road, and then only submit for the land matter and KM together for your new proposal, which includes amalgamation and all that.
Yes,
right?
I suspect that is how we have to approach this. I don't see any other way to do it.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I can see they're using 19776. Sometimes it's 204B. I think this is different.
Yeah, basically, if you do 76, here's the thing. I mean, once you surrendered for 197, right? Those land are no longer yours. But if you want to re-alienate them again, you can do it lah. 204 are the lands that you have to hold on your own. You have to be the one holding the land before you can do your 204. But if the land was not yours to begin with, then you can apply to alienate first. Once it's alienated to you, then you can do whatever subsequent processes that need to be done. And that's how I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's more accurate.
but I'm not certain if this is correct lah, because this is just the issues that I can see at this point lah. Never done this kind of weird land dealing before. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Don't think I'm much of a help here.
Okay.
I am
We
more an
also discussed
architect.
about this last time.
Yeah, I'm more an architect than a licensed land surveyor, if you haven't noticed already. So yeah. Yeah, like I can't think of anything else to deal with this. Seems like a rather contentious issue over here. For this is 2017 March, is it? I think we should have a example answer also. I think yesterday I might have shared it also.
Do you want to
Yeah.
have a look now, have a quick
Yeah.
look now so we can discuss about it?
Actually, there's another question
Yeah.
that Chichun posted. Maybe we look at that also before we move on, before we look into the answer. But at this point, the simple
Okay.
method will be talking about AKM and then alienate the land. Then you
Inspect
do
ABP,
204 and all that. Yeah,
A engineering, everything lah. A
yeah.
ciphers.
A 搞了咯. No lah, no A
Correct, ah.
ciphers lah, no ciphers
No
mah.
A
This one.
ciphers, or this a new ciphers lah.
Yeah, after that only you apply for ciphers. So then you apply the whole development process with. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we go on to the other questions first. Chichun, okay, Chichun? I can't see your chat box, so I'm not sure if you said anything yet. Okay, so when I should convert the FT QT into FT for strata title here? Your strata title, right? For your strata title to be processed, you first and foremost need your land to be final title. So before you apply for your subdivision, strata subdivision, that's when you should convert the QT to FT. Yeah, that's the only answer I can give you. Sorry about that, bro.
Yeah, this is important. Always miss out this. I always miss out this. Okay, before CPSP, we have to get the QT done, FT done.
Those things are usually not our scope, so usually we don't touch much. But basically, we have to just alert them and say, oh, you need to get your land in FT before you go for subdivision. Basically, until the time, as soon as your CPSP is ready, right, your FT should also be ready at the same time. That's basically the general rule. So I have no idea how long it takes.
So the FT, yeah. So FT is before CPSP or after? Before, isn't it?
FT should be around the same time because your strata subdivision, right, is contingent upon CPSP and also FT. That means you have to have the land held in FT and also your CPSP issued by Japan. Then only you can take these two, and then your BP, your latest BP approval, and also your SOP. All these documents together, only you can go for strata application. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yes, Jamie, go ahead.
I have no comment.
Sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, I have no comment. No comment.
Oh, because I just assumed that you wanted to say something. That's why you turn on your mic. Okay. Anyway, let's look into this other question from Chichun. Chichun, you're very smart, Force us to do so many questions one shot, Okay, appointed. You are already appointed by your developer as the architect. Okay, submit development proposal, 100-acre piece of land. That's a bloody huge piece of land. Master plan layout. And then BP in phases. Okay, last phase of development requested you plan in 2 phases. Okay, you do 2 phases, yada, 40 acre and then 60 acre future development. Respond to requests and then advisor approval required and action to be taken in compliance with all relevant laws and acts up to the stage obtaining the approval and endorsement of master layout plan by local authority in 2 phases. And the building plan approval for phase 1A and phase 1A and also phase 1C. Approval and also actions. In this case, we can also go ahead and do your diagram lah. Seems like it is a simple way to do it. Or I think, right, you can first and foremost subdivide, do a subdivide, or even go for 204D to to split the land into two major phases, 40-acre and also 60-acre first, and then look into subdivision of your phase one into the smaller parcels, so smaller sub phases. We asked you to choose, ma. We did ask you to choose two questions, ma. Tylo. Okay, never mind. Let's get back to this. So yeah, then I think the first thing that we have to talk about is the entire development process, and also since it's an agricultural land, you have to definitely change it to a building land and also surrender whatever you need to surrender. So the easiest way again is also 204D. I think we will draw a same diagram lah. Basically, the OSC 3.0 diagram. Sorry, pre-consult information gathering, then all the way until CCC lor. Okay. Actually, not until CCC because they are talking about the building permit approval for phase one until phase 1A until phase 1C. So basically, until building plan approval, good enough already. You don't need to go until CCC. So you can even not talk about things like the strata subdivision or whatever it is that might apply lah. Just until BP. So we can talk about land needing 204D to split into two major phases and the sub phases, and then surrender all the routes as per required. Then also identify and market phases as necessary. That's for land. Then can talk about the KM subject to approval lah. So submit under TCPA 21. Okay, then we can talk about the BP. BP will be standard lah, BP approval, and then we also have to actually, because it's only up until a building plan approval, we don't need to talk about APDL and all that because I don't think it applies yet. So yeah.
So which section are you using for this land application?
I will go for 204.
Okay,
Yeah.
but phase 2 is nothing inside. It's for future development. They haven't decided any
We
design or
can leave it as a as a future development lah. I don't think that's an issue because
so you're going to get back the entire piece of 60 acres in one title.
yeah,
It's already two title. What? It's one title or two title?
this
One
will
title.
be at least two titles.
Yeah. Originally, it's one title lah.
Originally one title because on a 100 acres piece of land. Yeah, so
So you get back 60 acre in one title.
yep, 60 acre in one title, and then the rest of it will be subdivided accordingly lah, to phase 1A, phase 1B, phase 1C, and then their individual component lah. So since it's terrace house, it's semi-detached house, and also shop offices, then they'll have their own individual titles for each and every one of these units.
Can 124A achieve for this?
I suspect you can do it. Actually, should be fine because you can 124 is meant for you can subdivide as well, and also once you have subdivide, you can also do surrender at the same time. So it should be doable, I think. 124, right? So hold on a second. Simultaneous application of subdivision and under subsection 124 in respect of proposed subdivisional portion. Sorry. Actually no, it doesn't mention 197 here. 196, 197 didn't quite mention here. Or does it? Wait, I'm just looking through the NLC at the moment. Give me a moment. Doesn't seem to quite say anything about surrendering. Cool.
So which is this? Which year is this question for? In which year?
Looks like a recent one. I think certainly the past 10 years one. Okay.
Okay, I just do a
2018.
record.
Yeah. 2018 September
Okay,
paper one.
so you mean 124A can achieve for this, 204B also can. Okay, how about the phase 2 remaining as one title is going to convert to residential without subdivision or remain as agriculture?
The second phase.
Yeah,
Second phase is going to be a. I think you can still leave it. You can leave it as a agricultural land first. I don't think you need to specify what it's meant for lah. You can leave it as
yeah,
agriculture at the
can
moment.
be achieved. Can be achieved, is it?
Should be fine lah.
Either to
Because until you
convert it without
actually
subdivision.
uh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we can either for phase 2 60 acre we can convert without subdivision into individual building block, or we can either to subdivide out remain as agriculture status.
Yeah, it should be okay, I think. Actually, some of my one of my developments that we are that I've been working on here is also have it also has a KM that says future development in some portions of the master plan. But I am not
Yeah,
certain how they how they deal with that part that says future development. I don't have the details. I can't answer on this part. But it has
okay,
been done lah, so I don't think it's an issue lah.
yeah,
As far as this question A is concerned, so maybe let's look into question B here. Obtaining BP approval, okay, phase one. That means all the phase one A, B, and C all approved already. They will decide to change phase one C, comprising of the two-story shop offices, into apartment, comprising of 15-story building with some common facility, amenity, and car parking provision at the podium. Okay. Sequence of steps required to get approval up to the issuance of strata title for apartment development. I think this is actually quite similar. It's basically the same question. Hey, Chichun, you're very smart, huh?
mm-hmm.
It's practically the same question if you think about it. Just that they didn't. At least this one, they don't try to confuse you with the word QT. That's how I see it. Or maybe they don't give a damn about the title or whatever lah. But you see, once your BP is approved, doesn't mean that your FT has you already gotten QT for your individual units. It's not exactly the same thing. So I would say, yes, your maybe you don't have to pay the premium to the land to the PTG to finalize your what you call it, your approval to finalize your land matter process. That's where you don't that's what you don't do lah in this situation. The previous question situation is that you already paid and then it's already been done. So you need the extra step to take back the land from the state authority. In this case, you probably don't have to do that. So you need to this is basically you submit an amendment KM to amend your plan. Uh, then once the KM approved, you also sorry, you go under OSC3 again lah. Once again for this one little parcel over here, this phase one C, AKM, ABP, all one shot. You do lah. So
Yeah,
steps required to get all the approval out until issuance. So basically, you talk about the entire sequence, just that you start with AKM instead of KM, and then ABP instead of a BP. Then the rest is strata title. You also talk about the HTA, for example.
yeah,
So do we need to convert QT into FT? Right? Yes, this one you definitely need to, because once basically you stop your in progress land matter application into you basically stop it, and then once your KM has been approved, the process to redo your land matter will restart. Then once the land matter progresses until QT, you need to you need to do the final survey and then pay the premiums to convert into FT before you even start your subdivision for what you call that? Start your subdivision for strata titles. I think the easier way, right, is that instead of going into the nitty gritty details of the land matter, uh,
Mhm.
maybe we don't talk so much about that one if you are not confident about it. So the way I see it, instead of having a whole what you call that, a whole column for land matters, right, we just say that if this one the if qualified title for the short office has been issued, basically we had to recombine it lah. Basically amalgamate it or whatever it is. Okay. Then the other part we'll be talking about strata title, and then once we reach the part where we say application for strata title, we have to mention that the land to be held in final title. I think that should cover the
Yeah.
ground already. That should cover us for at least we show that we understand it needs to be a final title before you subdivide. No? That's
Yeah.
how I see it lah. Because otherwise your diagram will be flying here and there. Unless you practice like Cao until Rui-En Tan can kowtow to you. I don't have that kind of confidence.
They are repeating the same question, almost the same from March 2017.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only
They-
difference is that they don't talk about the title only, the land title only. They previously they mentioned land title, so tricky a bit lah.
Yeah.
So Chichun, does that answer your question or not? Or hey, do you have the example answer or not? The example answer for this one. That one confirm you need FT. That one 唔使講。
Yeah, because
Strata Title Act says
if you read
I think
section 8A, section 8A, the condition. Let me type in STA 8A.
8A is CPSP mah.
Yeah, CPSP.
I
There's
think
a
it's section
consider-
I think it's section 9 or section 10 I think. Section 10 is the
Yeah.
conditions for approval.
application was-
If I am not mistaken. 8AG is it? Hold on let me open my book also. Where am I?
A, 8A, F.
Can't find my stuff. Oh, shit, where is it? Land part 3 exam STA 8A application. So okay. Application. Subsection 8A. Okay. This is proposed strata plan. Proposed strata plan don't need your building land to be in 8AG, is it you said? No lah, 8AG is talking about the superstructure stage, so no, CPSP. Wait, 8AF is it? Certified copy of final title. Oh, CPSP also need final title.
Yeah, before CPSP, they require the final title.
Okay. I always thought that the only the strata title need final title, so CPSP also need final title. Okay. Okay, I learned something new that I should have known quite a while back. So
SP is before approval, CPSP is after approval, isn't it? It's the same thing.
no, proposed strata plan is the one that your surveyor had to survey and then submit. That is a proposed strata plan. Only after this
this-
certificate has been issued by JUPEM, then you can apply for the subdivision of your strata title.
CPSP, yeah.
Yeah.
How about Cyphers? Do we need FT?
Ciphers don't need.
No need,
Ciphers don't need.
So we basically, if we draw the diagram, after the APDL, SOP, CBSP, after this SSS, below SSS, we add in QT become FT, then only we go for CBSP.
Yeah, QT change to FT before you go for CPSP, and then once
In between SSS and CBSP, we add in now QT, go for FT. That's all.
QT to FT, and then only you apply. Yeah, apply for CPSP. Yeah. Allah, teacher, you remember you didn't say just now. Make me only what? Make me embarrassed only now. Bloody hell. Okay, never mind. Now I know.
I think Jamie mentioned before, FQT cannot go for subdivision.
Definitely
So
cannot. This one definitely cannot.
Cannot.
Definitely cannot. Subdivision for strata definitely cannot. I only remember you need to be at final title. I didn't remember where you need it.
I mean subdivision of land, no strata title.
Subdivision should be okay. Subdivision is another one of the land process. It
Find
doesn't.
any.
Cannot.
Subdivide also cannot.
Sorry, cannot. Yeah, because strata title you subdivide the building is actually a subdivision. So it can. That's why they say you need to get final title. Only you can go to CPSP, which is they survey already ma. Then you subdivide the building. Yeah, with the final title of the land.
Subdivide for land?
Sorry, like okay, so two situations. One is the normal, the land you want to subdivide it. You need a final title. Means it's survey already. Only you can subdivide smaller portion.
Oh, okay.
The second situation is in the strata application. You also need to subdivide the building, but before you can subdivide the building, you need to obtain a final title because you also need to know the accurate dimensions already of your mainland. Only you can go for subdivision for strata title application.
Amalgamation can.
Amalgamation can use QT.
Oh, so subdivide cannot use QT.
Partition?
Partition should be the same, what? Should be the same
This
as
one is
subdivision.
under the condition of final of the subdivision, subdivided. Yeah, at the 135, it says about final title.
Seems like.
Partition, seems like it's a similar process, so how do we go about partition? Would it be the same? That means do you need to have a final title before you do it? Jamie?
But I couldn't find anything in the subdivision section 1 to clarify about FT.
Yeah, I'm also looking for that actually. So subdivide with approval of state director at land administrator. Conditions for approval, okay, shall be unless the following conditions are satisfied. So any restriction, okay, subdivision, there's no contradict, okay, subdivision. Subdivision would not be contrary to provisions of any written law, okay. Planning authority, yes, okay, contrary to any plan approved, okay, basically KM lah. If the case fall within any direction in that behalf given by state authority, subdivision and concern of body authority specified in or appointed by the direction, whatever that means. Approved by planning authority, okay. Public purpose, okay. No land or the land revenue is outstanding, okay. It doesn't say you need to be in final title though. Actually, it's not. It's not to say it doesn't say. I fail to find it at the moment. Not doubting you lah. It's just that I really want to know about this. Because my understanding was that land everything can do in qualified title except for strata. That was how I tried to remember it.
If you can find the provision, you can share with us, Jamie.
I think I'll dig
So
I'll dig around in the book later, so we can do a bit of homework there lah.
yeah, so if we answer about subdivision or partitioning next time, we can add more points onto that lah.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is kind of it for now. How about this? Maybe we can go through the. Okay, we can start planning for tomorrow. Then in this case, tomorrow we can select one question from somewhere else and then talk about that. But maybe we can go through some of the sample answers that we might be able to get for these two questions. What do you guys think? Can go through the sample answers for the maybe for the first part of tomorrow for both of these questions.
No problem. Can.
Okay, now
Can.
Chichun and Jamie, what do you think? At least we can discuss. Can go into detail and then talk about the things that we might have missed or the things that they have missed inside their sample answer. Homa.
Okay, I have no problem on that.
Chichun and Jamie, not to rush you guys.
Maybe
But,
Chichun pick another question lah. One more question lah. So
Chichun one only.
can
Chichun
do
one only.
But one so
Alright,
we
it's okay.
can
This one is actually quite
we-
similar, so I understand why he put them together. So it's okay. Cause you've been quiet, literally. Kena bully this guy, kesian. Jamie, okay, Jamie, anything you'd like to add or not for the moment? Unless you're driving, so plus one question, one question. So I thought we discussing the sample answer. Yeah, we will be discussing the sample answer tomorrow, but maybe since both are the similar nature, right? Both questions similar nature. I suspect the answers will be quite similar as well. So I'm just thinking that once we're done with that, we can maybe look into another question somewhere else. That's just what I think. Like if we have the time for it. Yeah. Jamie so quiet. Jamie, don't angry, Jamie.
Jamie is it's offline.
Oh, she's
She's
off. Is it?
offline.
Oh, no wonder lah, so quiet. Allah, sorry, I didn't notice. Okay lah, like that. What kind of question you guys want? Well, seems like we are still not very confident with development, but maybe we can take a break from this one and talk about Architect Act, or you want to venture a bit into Bomba? We can visit a bit of Bomba if you want. Since we only have like maybe half the session tomorrow for a question, maybe we can look into a bit of Bomba questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Go with SDBA F1F. Not much question on this one past year. It's actually quite rare, to be honest, because not many development need that kind of thing unless you are working on millers. Yeah, unless you're working with WDA or maybe with Hans Wong, then you have a bit more of that kind of stuff. Hey, please, my network quite wide. Okay, you don't underestimate me, Jichun. I just don't know which table you're sitting on only. Not yet. Yeah, so I think maybe we look for a brief Bomba question to run through lah, since it's just more like a refresher for us, just in case. That SDBA will revisit it maybe on the say Friday maybe, or maybe the coming week. Okay, no?
No problem. Since we are not going to celebrate for this year, with more time.
Yeah.
But we need to take some rest for Chinese New Year.
Yeah, I can take rest
Oh, yeah.
At night when you're sleeping, you're resting already. What are we talking about? No, I'm serious. We'll take proper breaks. So don't worry about it. So until then, I think that's the plan for now. we'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, not Zichun?
Okay.
And Fu?
Okay.
Yeah. Regards to your kids, cool?
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. See you guys tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Mm.
Ciao, Zichun.